Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Grand Traverse. We're glad to have you with us, whether in person or streaming from home. I'm Susan Smith, the coordinator of this service and a member of the Sunday Services Committee. I am living old with my fractured wrist, my new hearing aids prescribed for severe hearing loss, and my cardiac pacemaker. But in spite of that, in the words of Ram Dass in his book, Still Here, Embracing Aging, Changing, and Dying, I'm still here. And you are still here, whether walking with a cane, walker, or confined to a wheelchair, whether having memory trouble or trouble with vision or hearing, whether suffering from emphysema or heart failure, whether getting help with personal care, household care, or with transportation, we're still here. And the question is, what do we do when we can't do what we always did? In our service today, our senior minister, Reverend Alex Jensen, will explore with us what it means to be living old. At the top of our order of service, you will note our land acknowledgement, a request to silence electronic devices, and a notice about the book at the front of the sanctuary in which you can record your joys and concerns and/or light a candle of commemoration as you prefer. Reverend Alex will read what you choose to share a little later in the service. As a welcoming congregation, we welcome you, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other way in which we are different from one another. You are welcome here. To us, you are a fellow traveler on the journey of life. Thank you for sharing part of that journey with us. If you are new to our congregation and are willing and able, please stand to introduce yourself. Someone will bring a microphone so that we can all hear your introduction, including those streaming from home, and so that we're able to welcome you personally later. Are there visitors or newcomers among us?
Good morning, everybody. My name's Andrew. This is Esperanza. It's our first time here. We're still fairly new to town, but very happy to be here.
Welcome. For our social hour following services, we have designated yellow mugs for our newcomers, Andrew and Esperanza. This will enable us to identify you right away during coffee hour and welcome you into our community. Let us now turn our attention to our centering music. This is All I Ask, performed by Barbara Young.
Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex, your senior minister, emphasis on senior. I know I don't have many gray hairs yet. I use he and him pronouns, and I invite you and welcome you to this service in which we'll explore the spirituality of aging, as well as the transformations and challenges that can accompany us as we grow older. As we settle into this time together, I invite you to take a deep breath as I read these words from the Reverend Arlen Goff. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside and back again, from here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation from what we were and what we are to what we can become. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into a space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life pregnant with possibility. How will we be renewed in this moment? And how will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? Come, let us worship together this morning.
We light the flaming chalice this morning, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, with these words from a poem about aging by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Morituri salutamus. But why, you ask me, should this tale be told to men grow old or who are growing old? It is too late. Ah, nothing is too late till the tired heart shall cease to palpitate. Cato learned Greek at 80. Sophocles wrote his grand Oedipus, and Simonides bore off the prize of verse from his compeers when each had numbered more than 80 years. These are indeed exceptions, but they show how far the Gulf Stream of our youth may flow into the Arctic regions of our lives, where little else than life itself survives. And now we sound our singing bowl as we enter this sacred time and space together. Follow the sound as it fades. Let it bring you into the center of this beloved community.
In singing hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Still story. It's actually a Sufi tale. I'm not Chelsea, I'm Nan. The little stream called to the sea. A Sufi tale. Once there was a little stream that dreamed of flowing to the sea. The stream started in an aquifer, a huge pool of water underground. But the call of the ocean was so strong that the stream pushed its way through nooks and cracks up through the earth until it burst forth into the air and began its journey toward the sea. As its waters bubbled to the surface, they ran down the hill, carving the stream bed into the earth. Sometimes the stream babbled as it traveled. Sometimes it gurgled. Sometimes it roared. And at times, the stream traveled alone. Its waters were so clear, you could see the pebbles that lined its bed. At other times, the streams ran through great lakes, or tumbled over a cliff, or joined other streams to form a river, and then split again to travel alone. But always, the little stream yearned to flow into the sea. Sometimes the stream would run fast and deep, eager to reach the sea. Fish swam in its waters as it carried them swiftly on its journey. Sometimes the stream would grow wide and slow, and it would carry boats on its back as it continued its journey. But always, the little stream yearned to flow into the sea. One day, just as the call of the stream seemed to grow a bit stronger, the stream found itself growing sluggish. Its waters grew thick with mud until, sadly, it pooled into a brackish mud hole right on the edge of the desert. "Woe is me," thought the little stream. "Now I'll never get to the sea." It tried going around the desert, but the desert was too wide. It tried going under the desert, but the desert was too deep. Still, even with mud in its ears, the little stream heard the call of the ocean and yearned to fall to the sea. After what seemed like a long time, as the stream just pooled there in the sun, it began to hear a second voice. "I can take you to the sea, little stream," whispered the wind. "Come with me. I'll carry you to the ocean shore." "How could you do that?" scoffed the stream. "You are made only of air." "I can carry you on the breeze," whispered the wind. "But you must be very brave, for you must let go of yourself and change." "I've changed many times," said the stream. "But this will be different," said the wind. The little stream paused, but deep within, the stream still yearned for the sea. The stream let go, and the wind picked it up, particle by particle. At first, the stream was scared, for it felt lost. It was no longer a stream, but was turned sort of inside out and had become moisture swirling in the sky. The view was like nothing the stream had ever seen before. Not only was the whole world laid out below, but it was surrounded by sparkling jewels. Then, what had been the stream realized that all those sparkling jewels were parts of it. Molecules of water, droplets of moisture, sparkled in the light. What had been the stream realized that it was truly beautiful on the inside. Next, the stream turned moisture saw that it was not alone, for the wind had whispered to other streams and ponds, and even to the morning dew upon the oasis. All had turned into moisture, and all their parts were also sparkling in the sun. Together they were even more beautiful, for the sunlight had turned them into the colors of the rainbow. Then the little stream turned rainbow, felt itself falling and falling and falling. All the other droplets were falling too, until plop, plop, plop. All the droplets ran together into a mighty river, which rushed down the mountainside, across the coastal plain, and into the sea, where the waves pushed it back and pulled it forward, and the currents carried it far out into the pulsing depths. The little stream was content. But I understand that every now and then the wind would breeze by, whispering to the currents in the sea, "Come with me, come with me," and that the moisture would rise up into the wind and be carried away to start all over again.
Would you please join me in singing the children's benediction?
Good morning. Most of you know me as the Dusty Treasurer. And I'm sorry about my voice. You know, the laryngologist says, "You're just getting old." Aren't you tired of hearing that? I knew that when I walked through the door. Some of you may have missed or perhaps rejoiced in not hearing my Sunday morning laments and joys reporting on the year's annual budget drive. I'm sure the Sunday service crew was relieved of the anxiety, wondering about how far I would go over my precious allotted time of 3 to 5 minutes. You know, it takes me 1 or 2 minutes to get up here, and brevity is not my middle name. Today officially concludes our annual budget drive for the year 2024-25. But I don't suspect you really think that it's come to an end. You know, our Buddhist friends tend to talk about how endings are just beginnings and beginnings are just endings. And the annual budget drive team is now rolling up their sleeves to nudge you a little bit to get in those pledges that have eluded your immediate to-do list. You shall see why. Through yesterday, we had 79 pledges for a total commitment of $193,450. $465. For our congregation, for that number of pledges, that's pretty good. However, it's clearly quite a bit below our goal of $250,000, which we really believe is attainable. Frankly, if that number were final, we would find it very hard to fund our expenditures next year. The Finance Committee begins its deliberation on the 24-25 budget in 3 days. 3 days. Last year, we had 113 pledges, and 79 represents only 70% of that figure. We have quite a few new folks who have joined us. We feel there are likely at least 35 or more pledges, potential pledges, out there to fill this $55,000 deficit. I'm always quick to point out the success of our little congregation's 60-year journey is our willingness to share our skills, our compassion, our sense of justice, and our fellowship activities. We also need the financial support for our Sunday and other services, our educational activities, our music that kindles the warmth of our souls, and our outreach and social justice activities throughout the community. Some people feel that giving is a burden or feel badly that their gifts seem small. All pledges help. I have a little story for you. See this bright, shiny penny? Well, a penny just like it was put in the collection box a week ago. A very young congregant went out of her way to drop this into that collection box. When I took the collection to the bank, the teller incredulously asked me, "You kept track of that penny?" I said, "Yes." It was joyously given with compassion and care for others. And look how it shines. See this penny? It's dull. It's had a long life. One put it, a long life well lived for a coin. This represents an inspiring conversation I had yesterday with a 95-year-old congregant who no longer can come to UUCGT. He joyously remembers his years here and the many people he learned to cherish and care for. He still sends a pledge in every month. Please evaluate your situation and review what UUCG means to you. Then, if you have not pledged, please do so consistent with your situation and with joy. With joy. If you have given, did you do it so out of automatic pilot? We've given that for the last 10 years. Maybe joy is worth a little more. Pledge forms are right outside in the hall, and I'll be in the office after services. A phone call or email works. Please try to pledge now. Thank you for all the love, time, and fellowship you give.
Thank you, Dusty. I've never heard anybody ask for money with such compassion and warmth and understanding. We're blessed. Thank you. Now is the time of our offering, which may be earmarked on your checks to support the congregation or for those in need in our community. If not noted, it will be split equally. Please note if it is to be applied to your pledge, to which pledge year it applies. If you are watching at home, you may give as described in the slides via the Vanco Giving app, the UUCGT website, by mailing in your check, or by pre-arrangement with your bank for a monthly withdrawal, automatically deposited in UUCGT's account. Let us now enjoy the meditation music, Try to Remember, played by Barbara Young during the collection of our offering.
Now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns, the milestones and moments of our lived experience that have been offered up for us to hold on our hearts as we are gathered. I'll be sharing a few of those that folks have written in for us to offer up. If you have a joy or a concern that's a bit too raw or tender on your heart, you're always welcome to reach out to myself, to a member of our congregational care team, to simply light a candle at any point in our service to honor that joy or concern, or to just hold it on your heart as you are held in the love that abides here. None of us is ever meant to travel life's journey alone. So if you'd please join me in holding on your hearts these joys and concerns. First, I want to hold our DRE, Chelsea Bentley, who couldn't be here with us today because she has a really bad migraine, and so I'm holding her in this space as she hopefully feels better and recovers. We have a few joys and concerns offered from Mike Radke. May we offer compassion and healing for those affected by assault, abuse, and oppression. For Kate, on our anniversary, your deep caring, compassion for those traumatized, and loving relationship endures. For our dear friend and UUCGT member, Janet Zerbel, and her family, who are commemorating the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Janet's beloved son, Jay. This weekend, Janet and the Zerbel family honor Jay's life, his laughter, and his enduring presence in their lives. He remains forever missed, never forgotten. We hold Janet and her family warmly in our thoughts and hearts. From Dave and Mary Newhouse, a great sorrow with the loss of their grandson Tanner, who died yesterday at peace in his sleep, 17 years young. The family requests love, patience, and grace as they proceed in the midst of this great loss. Please hold them in your love and in your prayers. From Jill Jennings, please hold our friends and neighbors experiencing homelessness in your hearts and minds as we approach the end of the season at Safe Harbor. From Holly Haywood, please hold the people of Palestine in your hearts and eyes at this critical moment. And now, let us hold a moment of stillness for all of the joys and concerns that remain on our hearts. If you would please join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer, finding your center and breathing deeply to the rhythm of your being this morning. We pray these simple words from the Reverend Tess Baumberger. O great Spirit of life, the God of many moments, of night gliding into day, and day seeping into night, of infant milky sleeping breaths, and wrinkled, crinkled, aging eyes, of the starting beauty of sunlight gazed upon a tree, and the mournful moonlit vistas, call us from days of doing into instances of being. Remind us of the certainty of love and the neighborhood of grace, which binds us to each other each and every day. Let us now pause for a moment to pray the prayers on our own hearts. For all of this, for all of those in our community who are hurting, for all of those in our world who are in pain, I say, may it be so, and amen. Please join as we sing our song of response, Spirit of Life, number 123 in your gray hymnals.
Our reading this morning is by the Reverend Bill Sinkford, a former UUA president. In this essay titled, Rise in Body or in Spirit, Reverend Sinkford reflects on becoming older. He writes, becoming an elder was never my goal. Over the years, I've looked at older men and thought someday that might be me. I don't remember those moments as being either frightening or depressing. I never really inhabited that future. Now I'm 68. 70 is the new 50, they say. Yes and no. There most certainly is life, love, and productivity at 70 and well beyond. But we are dealing with changes too. Changes to that 18-year-old body I remember, that trim, graceful body I had when I fantasized of a career as a professional tennis star. Changes to that 35-year-old body I remember, that well-muscled construction worker body I had. Those body images are not just memory, they still live in me. For many years, I've understood myself to be middle-aged. But on the other hand, I just don't know many people who are 140 years old. So much of popular culture seems to focus on denial of aging rather than embracing it. Aging is about decreased ability, increased limitation, reduced independence, increased reliance on others. Aging is about the acceptance of approaching death. Why would anyone embrace aging? Some years ago, I fell exiting a small commuter plane in South Carolina. The bruising was extensive. In the next months, my walking became more compromised and the pain got worse. I underwent surgery to alleviate the pain, but neither my walking or my balance ever returned. At General Assembly, the large annual gathering of UUs, I began using a scooter to get around. I simply couldn't walk fast enough to get from location to location. Accepting my new physical reality has been a test, and it is still a work in progress. I live with a sense of betrayal. The body I relied on for so many years is letting me down. I am still mad about it, furious, actually. How is it possible to be so angry at my own body, at myself, I wonder? My memory is not as sharp as it once was. I need to make more notes lest I forget things. My spirit seems to deepen by the day. The spirit is willing, but the body? A quip from the used car business comes to mind. It's not the mileage, but the wear and tear on the chassis that matters. At a recent installation where I preached, I decided to take the invitation to rise in body or spirit seriously and remained seated. I found out, of course, that the world continued spinning while I remained seated to sing. It was not a big deal to anyone other than me. What is hardest to accept is not any one sign of my physical limitations, but the knowledge that dealing with them will be part of my life. It is knowing not only that death is inevitable, but also that it is right and even good. Being present to myself as I age is my primary discipline. It feels important to do it well, and it feels like it will require all the honesty and courage I can muster. And now our sermon, Living Old, from Dr. Alex Jensen.
So as I begin today's sermon, I have to fess up that the subject of living old is not one that I have a lot of direct experience with. That's kind of the elephant in the room around here. And I know I'm a little older than that 25-year-old you called as your settled minister a few years ago. In truth, I still have a lot of experience to gain in this area, one that many of you are actually actively experiencing now. I joke that in 10 years, while I won't be the new minister anymore, I will forever be the young minister in your eyes, well, at least for a while. And while I don't have a lot of direct experience with aging, when you're a young adult that spends a lot of time around those in their later years of life, you do actually learn a lot. Everything from being at bedsides of the dying, to listening to present aches and past regrets, the parts of a soul trying to make sense of life as it is now, and reconciling it with visions of past strengths, passions, and abilities. I've also known many in my family who have died. While my parents are both still alive and well, I'm acutely growing more and more aware of their mortality as they grow into their late 60s, almost around the same middle age as Reverend Bill Sinkford as he reflects on not knowing many 140-year-olds. I feel that I've more than scratched the surface in bearing witness to the challenges and mysteries of growing older, knowing just how acute and real that these challenges and mysteries are. For this reason, I'm all the more appreciative to hear Sinkford's reflections on getting old, especially in wondering where that 18-year-old tennis star and that 35-year-old construction worker went. What the heck happened? I think that's a question that maybe some of you have. That's a question that I think many of us can resonate with as we start to go older and notice our bodies. For those of us in our younger years, we may still be at the stage of our perceived invincibility. I'll admit that I'm still somewhere in this stage of life, not really putting a whole lot of thought into what I'll be like when I grow older. While I intellectually know that we all start off young and age over time, there's also a bit of naivete when you're young and don't know what you don't know, especially with aging. That's perhaps one particular reason behind our cultural denial of aging rather than embracing it. In our Western American culture, we like to dwell in the positive and the happy. We don't really make time to talk about aging, let alone death. Those in our younger generations don't seem to get it because they don't. We don't. We prioritize the glory of achievements of youth, of the endless possibilities for children and teens as they discover who they are and what their place is in our world. We are nourished by the hope that youth brings, knowing that there are a heck of a lot of problems that we face in this day and age, and knowing that we haven't been able to solve them. And so it's up to our future generations to figure this all out. There's also an ingrained ageism, another elephant in the room, how we so often discount or undervalue our elders in mainstream society, how we regard them as simple, foolish, or even past their prime, rather than honoring the sacred changes and transitions that they are actively going through. In many societies and cultures, elders are a natural part of the family unit, often all living under the same roof with generations all the way from birth until death. But in our Western society, this isn't quite the case. We desire to look away and avoid reckoning with aging and death, entrusting the care of ourselves and our loved ones to homes and facilities created for those in their later years. Perhaps we need to turn over care because we ourselves can't do it on our own. That illness or waning ability makes it so that we and our loved ones need the professional help and guidance. I don't mean for you to hear this as a judgment or even an indictment. Just notice the cultural differences that we have in our society with turning away from death and our increasing limitations as we grow older. A base desire on both sides of old and young is to retain as much independence as possible as we dance with denial, as we dance with the inevitable for all of us, even if we choose to look away. The reality is that we don't embrace death and aging as a culture. We don't have a space to talk about our friends and loved ones who die and pass away, electing to focus more on our living. We prioritize youth and vigor over change and decay, and we're all guilty of this to some degree. And it's for this reason that I feel so lucky to do what I do and to witness so much of what old age brings. I'm grateful for a holistic faith like Unitarian Universalism that teaches me that aging and death are just as much a part of life, even when I do actually sit there in that uncomfortable truth that one day I will die. As my grandfather so often quipped, none of us gets out of here alive. One of my deepest experiences with death, the death of my grandpa Carl, countered the cultural norms in our society to avoid it and look away. A teenager around my sophomore year of high school, I remember getting the call from my mom that her dad, my grandfather, didn't have too much time left to live. On our drive up to see him in his final hours, I recalled the wisdom he gave me through living authentically as he aged. The relentless independence he maintained for as long as he could, the walks he and I would take together through a mustard field by my house in our neighborhood, his movement and ability changing from cane to walker to no longer being able to walk at all. He held a duality in him, the familiar feelings of betrayal, of his body no longer working as it once could, mingled with an honest acceptance. A rocket scientist at JPL for many years, he had no illusions about life's final stage. After making our way to my uncle's house where my grandpa lived with my aunt, uncle, and cousin, I felt lucky to be at his side. It wasn't scary as I might expect. In his final hours, his memory failing as he wondered where he was and what was going on, I'll never forget the last conversation I had with him. In the midst of his memory lapses, his looking over at me, looking me in the eyes and recalling the very moment I was born, and what a gift that was to him, that he got to be a grandpa for the first time and to watch me grow up. You see, life is full of this rich mystery, the beauty of life found between birth and death, between growing and dying. Perhaps the reason we treasure youth so much is the reality that our human lives are limited. Whether we believe in an overarching story for our life, of the possibilities of life after death, we know that there are some mysteries that will forever remain out of reach. The ability of youth to fathom their own mortality, the ways elders cherish what once was and is now past, but not forgotten. Life here on earth is finite. None of us lives forever. And to invoke my Grandpa Carl once again, none of us gets out of here alive. The challenge to our fullest living is accepting that we will one day grow old and die, that we will one day not be able to do the things that we were once able to do, that spiritually wrestling through those feelings of both denial and betrayal is the primary discipline of living. These are feelings that are no doubt alive for more than a few of you as you grow older each year and wonder when your own time will come. Unfortunately, we also know of those whose lives are lost too soon, whose deaths carry no overarching meaning other than the tragedies of their death in young age. For some things, there simply is no answer or explanation. Life is limited, and life is so very precious. It is this same sentiment that Mary Oliver, the poet, gives us in her poem In Blackwater Woods. I know a few of you might know this one. She writes, "Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go." Aging is not all despair and decay, though it's true that all roads lead the same way. Aging is also filled with great joy and grace, with years of hard-earned wisdom and faithful conviction, of becoming grandparents and even great-grandparents, the gift of watching our young ones grow up and become more than our wildest dreams and imaginings, of getting to tell tall tales and stories, maybe even messing with our younger ones a little bit here and there, of knowing the importance of life because we know it won't last forever. Moving through life's ages and stages is what we call liminal space, a threshold of transformation and of opportunity. For the chance to notice what is good and sacred and to love it with all of our might as we hold it up against our bones, there is so much beauty in old age. It's because of life's liminality and life's scarcity that we cannot be resigned to just give up, even in the midst of losing other friends and loved ones in our generation, even in losing our abilities to move, our abilities to drive, to be as independent as we once were. We must savor and make the most of life's beauty each and every day. We must lose the sense that there is but one right way to be and move in this world, that there's nothing morally wrong with you because you're old and you can no longer do what you once could do. I know that's a message that a few of you need to hear more and more. There's nothing morally wrong with you just because you can't do what you once are not able to do anymore. Life itself is our greatest gift, right up there with our gift of self. Our challenge is to love ourselves through all of life's seasons, knowing that the person we are now is the same person we've always been, just transformed. You still contain in you that same spirit, that same gift of self that you were given at the start of your life. And there is so much of life still to cherish and savor. What will you do with this great gift? To close, I wish for you the beginnings of acceptance for yourself, no matter which age, stage, or season of life that you find yourself in. We could all use more work on loving and accepting ourselves, even with a little wear and tear on the chassis, even if old age seems the farthest possibility from us now. I wish for you to rise in body or in spirit and to take seriously this invitation to be your authentic self as you are now. That with all of the ways that we vary in our abilities across our lives, your physical limitations are not the end of your story and your ability to find and experience life's goodness. Those of us in our younger years also have an opportunity to cherish time with our elders, to actively notice and celebrate their authentic relationship with growing older rather than looking away. For all of us, I invite you to be present with yourself as you age, as you come more and more into your later years, a gift itself that not all of us get to experience. I wish for you the peace that my Grandpa Carl had in accepting that our death is just as much a part of life as our living. Above all, I wish for you both honesty and courage. The honesty and courage required to bear witness to the fullest realities of your lived experience. I want to make an additional note that we even have a new group starting up here at UUCGT that has been titled Aging Gracefully. It's a support group through life's later ages and stages. And so if any of you might be interested in partaking in this group, you can reach out to Margaret Wozniak or Andy Kramer, who are holding the first session in the week of April 15th. No matter what may come, you have a spiritual home and a community in us right here. And as I so often share in our time of joys and concerns, none of us is ever meant to travel life's journey alone. For all of this, I say, may it be so, and amen. If you would please join me in a moment of stillness. If you would please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing a very rousing and familiar hymn to you, Blue Boat Home. But again, take seriously that invitation to rise in body or in spirit and know that you can participate in whichever way you feel most comfortable.
Far away from the rolling
As Alex releases the flame today, I will read words from the last few stanzas of the Longfellow poem I read from earlier, again about old age. Whatever poet, orator, or sage may say of it, old age is still old age. It is the waning, not the crescent moon, the dusk of evening, not the blaze of noon. The night hath not yet come. We are not quite cut off from labor by the failing light. Something remains for us to do or dare. Even the oldest tree some fruit may bear. For age is opportunity no less than youth itself, though in another dress. And as the evening twilight fades away, the sky is filled with stars invisible by day.
It's that favorite time in the service that you've all been waiting for, that sacred ritual of the litany of announcements. I have about 30, I think, to share, and we'll be here a while, so get comfortable. Kidding, I've only got a few. During social hour today, you're invited to visit the Social Justice Action Table to help defend our democratic principles during this election year. You can see Mike Radke. Raise your hand if you don't mind, Mike, and you can go chat with him at that table and learn more of how to support, support our democratic principles. We have a new program that we're going to be offering again. Those of you that participated in the Starting Point program, we're going to be offering that this April and May. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's an opportunity for folks of all levels at Unitarian Universalism, whether it's brand new to you or whether you've been around a while and want to go deeper. There's a sign-up sheet that's over at that welcome table where it says welcome visitors right outside, and you can sign up and receive updates on that. And again, we'll hold that just in mid-April and May. A lot of people have really enjoyed that. We're going to put a pause to our Afterthoughts group that was starting up new. We realized we need to take stock a little bit and do a little more work on that. And so our Soul Matters facilitators, thank you for your patience and invite you to look forward ahead when we decide to offer it once again. Another note to say that the celebration of life for Marcia Jane Bellinger is going to be this Saturday, March 16th at 3 p.m. here at UUCGT. There's also a reception to follow at Park Place at 5 p.m. And lastly, please join us as we welcome some new members next Sunday. Rumor has it we've got 9 people planning to join. 9, maybe even a 10. Yeah, that's good. You can applause. So it'll be a party. So I hope that you get to come out and celebrate as we welcome 9 new folks into our fold. And now, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to join in either linking arms or hands or this wonderful gesture of outstretching your hands to say, please do not touch me. We respect everybody's wish. So, make sure if you're not wanting to be touched, outstretch your hand and I'll outstretch with you. And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, and in the spirit of honoring our bodies and their many ages and stages, may we be made ready to serve one another and to create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, everyone. May it be so. Amen. Pass a little squeeze if that feels good, or an air 5. And have a wonderful Sunday.